Welcome to Wickerson Studios. I'm continuing with this series of looking into custom ghPython and C# nodes, and I'm going to be bouncing back and forth on my GitHub files, that repository, just to make it interesting. Now, I've learned enough about C# that coming back to Python feels really good. I actually feel like I'm cheating a bit. It seems a little too simple. So what I did was I pushed ghPython to the simplest. I'm going to be looking through the Python one-liners and building some GH scripts that pair exactly with that book. So creatively, I'm not really doing that much. You'll see that I play around a little bit. Um, but otherwise, everything will be on my Patreon and be on my GitHub, and hopefully you find this helpful. I certainly do. I've just thrown a little fun script in here that I can play off of Wickerson Studios and draw from a geometry whenever I need it and start to bust up that geometry if it becomes interesting. But you'll see right here the one-liners. I'm going to leave this side open to open my Python editor. So what I have here is basically what's happening from the start of this book. And if I look at this book here, which is this one, it's going to have about 200 pages of very fast one-liner scripts. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to type them in the Grasshopper, get them working, and make them interface. Because I think slowing myself down, this is a conversation that I saw online with Jose Luis, in the fact, like, should you be building plugins if you're not making plugins for other geometries and bigger things? Should you just have a list of really fast user objects, not just in Python like I've done here, but also in C? I think I have a bunch here. That's robots. I have to kind of jump here. You'll see that I work from kind of the idea. This will be my one-liner file, and it'll be on GitHub and user objects that you might want to use. You see there's custom Unity files that are, well, those are pretty long actually, but you'll see there's a bunch of small ones dealing with curves, sorting, which came from Jose Luis as well. Very happy to join the Discord of Parametric Camp. I think I can offer something. I think I have Raya Ice's things. I have one from Warsaw with C nodes, like all these kind of really fast scripts that go from basic to intermediate, sometimes advanced, and sometimes there's some ridiculous algorithms tucked in there. But I'm going to focus on this sense of one-liner, and you can see exactly what's happening here. So I'm taking the scripts out, and this is basically what's happening. All of a sudden, returning to Python feels so easy compared to what I've been trying to, type and cast and allocate or whatever the words are in C#. So here you could write a script that for I in range 10, the squares equal the, you append them by the, you're squaring that counter. And instead, you could just write it in a single line here. So I'm doing a print line afterwards, which will go to the output, and there it is. So that's a nice simple script for running it. And then I'm making that, I'm just leaving that open. I'm not making it I'm not compiling. I'm not going in the mode and turning it to a GH component, which would hide the contents. I find that's good for nobody, especially for me to learn and to get into play with it later. So we'll close that one out. So what I've done is I've made these. I'll take one of these and I'll just basically go into File and, go into File and make a user object. I think that's what I'm doing right here, creating a user object. And then that user object pops up here, and I'm going to call these ones basic, and they're going to be labeled what they are. So this one's the script again, and you can see that you could rewrite this whole thing very simply at this point because you can edit it. You say, okay, I kind of understand that. Everything in that array that I was sending the print copy, I could tuck up into here, and I could take off all this other stuff just by commenting it out and not have to bother with it. So I'm just playing with this a little bit. I won't save it. Take that all to there, run that one again, and you'll see then you can run the script in a one single line, which is really the point of that. Now, I'm not going to save that script because I actually want it to be back to where it was, but you can get in here and understand things. Not only what was becoming confusing as you're learning how to code and how to script, but this one-liner book is going to be outstanding for pulling back everything that I can just quickly reference it. I can jump up there, and if I don't like what I did in that one, like say I messed that one up, I can always go back to my one-liners right here, pull out the other one for squares. Actually, that's the next one. Let's pull out the square one, and there it is. There's the output, and I can pop it back in, take it there, have it reset to what it was. So it's kind of like I see it related to GitHub and the fact that people can play with it. They can jump in there. They can mix it up. If they don't like it, they can download and jump back into the original. So now you're back into the original script, which shows you where it came from and how you would print the one-liner. And I've just used X and Y as 2 and 3, so I can change that up. So you see the output changes different than what's being brought to the squares. And I think that's just a wonderful way to play. So I'm going to close that one out. And then I'm going to go to this one, which is the next one. It's a little more complex, but it's once again another one-liner. And just ignore this first script. It's just me being playful, wanting a little bit of geometries and visuals alongside me in the Rhino. Because the more you get into computational arts, the probably less you'll be working parametrically, but the less you'll be working statically in Grasshopper. You just like it's enough for me to have to go in here and make a visibility and build all this. Like make a text file, have to come in here and have to type text, and then I got to type in WS, and then I got to put it in the screen. I mean, that's the static modeling that seems to be doing one step at a time, whereas computational arts is going to allow me to blast this into an entire geometry or architecture. The next thing I did was I went in here and there's the squares. I'm just going to build the next file, which will be called dataStructures, and I'm pulling out how you basically learn numbers, data types, booleans, strings, and we'll go through all this beginning chapter on this as it stays pretty simple. But what I like is they're writing all of this as one-liners. So that one can be written down here if I jumped in, and we're dealing with data structures which are number-based. You can see in here you can write your little calculator that works as a node, but they're all just one-liners. And this is dead simple. This is the basic of the basic, but this is what I'm intending on doing. And as I fly through the 200 pages in this book this week and next, because I'm getting a little obsessed about it, and C# is, a little meatier to get me in there, and I'm also understanding some things to do interesting on my GitHub. I think I'm ready to collaborate with people through that GitHub file. And, I'm into year 3. I guess I started in the fall of 2019, maybe the fall of 2018, I think I started. And then I pushed hard through slowly learning Grasshopper. And then once I started getting onto, it was the winter of 2020 that I thought at the end of 2020, let's pick up C#. Let's really try and learn that. So it's nice to come back to ghPython. It feeds into a lot of these Facebook groups. You can see these are all one-liners doing add, minus, times, divide down, modulus, negative, cast integer, casting floats, and exponents. And then that does exactly that, which is kind of nice. And that cast float, why didn't that work? My cast float should be casting my integer and making it 3.0. So I'm interested why that isn't working. I'll have to check it out. Otherwise, I'm casting to floats. The x integer 3, it should be coming up 3.0. And maybe it is. No, it's not. So it's not being cast as a float. So I need to figure out what's going wrong with that. Oh, no. I'll try and figure it out. Anyway, this is what I'm doing. I will continue with the stream. Once I fix that problem, I'll go into Booleans, and we'll just try and find out what's going on. So thanks very much for watching. I'll put this back on the Wickerson Studios, have a little fun with my color editor, and my dispatch tool, my simple pipe, which makes lines a little more exciting. And there we go. I hope you find this series interesting. Thanks for watching.